Stephen, with this fight being the most highly anticipated fight in recent memory, do you expect to break records with against Javante and Tank Data and Ryan Garcia?
I think it could be in the ballpark. Look, that was a fantastic fight that got a lot of momentum, but it takes a little bit of luck. Sometimes you don't know exactly how big a fight is until you get to fight week. I mean, you put out all the marketing, you do all the strategic things that you think are going to work, and then sometimes there's just an element of it where things catch fire and it sort of spreads. I like the time of year that we're in. In July, it's pretty quiet. There's not a whole lot of other competition. I think there'll be a lot of coverage, a lot of visibility for this event. These are two fighters that don't have the social media profile that Tank and Ryan did, but there's a lot other ways to generate visibility and marketing for the event.
And I'm not saying for this fight specifically, but in general, most fights are held on Saturdays, and sometimes, you got boxing fans with 2-3 devices trying to watch everything. Has a consideration been like, hey, maybe not the big pay-per-view fights, but like a smaller fight, maybe put it on a Friday, Sunday, Thursday, Wednesday, whereas you're not as crowded with other boxing channels? Has that been talked about at all?
Yeah, it has been, and I think it's worth testing. And certainly it's something that historically has happened in the past. Some of the biggest fights, some of the Sugar Ray Leonard fights, are on Mondays, for example. So the reality is, it's worth exploring, but it's easy for me to say because I'm not the promoter with money at risk.
I got you.
So it's sort of like, okay, maybe it is with a mid-level pay-per-view that it makes sense that. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. That you don't do it with something where there's a ton of risk, because it's up to say, hey, let's take a big fight and see if it works on Monday. It's easy for me to say when my money's not at risk.
I got you.
This fight is kind of like the culmination of the Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence generation, Keith Thurman, Shawn Porter. How big do you see their possible move to 154, whoever wins the fight, against if Jermell Charlo's successful against Zoo? How big do you see that fight?
Look, I think, I think it's a very strong possibility. Errol has talked about it. Bud has talked about it. Thurman has talked about it. Danny's already done it. So look, that continues, and that's where we get some of these other rivalries to continue. Makes a lot of sense to me.
How's it been to travel for you from LA to here and just having the Jumbotron in Times Square? Just your thoughts compared to the other big fights that you made.
Yeah,
how this is coming to be.
It can be exhausting. What's a little bit more exhausting is the schedule. We went through, at the time of the Tank, we went through a portion of our schedule where we had 9 live events in 11 weeks. In terms of press tour, this is not too bad, compared to Mayweather Canelo, where we did 10 cities in 9 days, or 9 cities in 10 days, whatever it was. I couldn't keep track where I was at that point. So, but this is, it's great. Like, no one really resents doing this because it's worth the effort. I mean, you want to talk to everybody and anybody about this fight because it's some of the best the sport has to offer.